Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Path of Exile tutorial. Today, we are going to continue talking about unique jewels and their powerful effects that we can have on our builds by talking about the Thread of Hope. The Thread of Hope is a jewel that you acquire from defeating Cyrus and can be socketed into a jewel socket just like any other jewel. However, unlike a normal jewel, which only provides a bonus within a small area or directly from the jewel itself, such as the case of our previous video, the Timeless Jewels, the Thread of Hope instead has a variable size that starts out quite small, but can go all the way up to massive, as we see here. The purpose of the Thread of Hope is not to provide power by itself. In fact, instead, it lowers your elemental resistances by a certain percentage. However, what it does provide is the ability to allocate skill points that are currently not within range of your build. Either they are too far away in terms of the amount of points needed, or in some cases are so far out of the way that they would never be viable for you to pick up. These points can activate anything with the exception of large cluster jewel sockets, and can be very good for those one-off notables that you really want for your build, or, when used in conjunction with a timeless jewel, can allow you to pick up powerful attributes and upgrades to your build that otherwise would be out of reach. An example of this is if you are attempting to be ailment immune. A lot of really powerful timeless jewels for Elegant Hubris give you powerful nodes down here, but all the way up here provide you with a chance to avoid being shocked. This can be used with the Storm Shroud jewel we will cover in another video to give you a massive amount of ailment immunity. However, in my personal case, I am only using a Thread of Hope for an upgrade that I hope to purchase soon, which will allow me to pick up these two nodes here to gain a whole lot of mana reservation efficiency and increased effect of non-curse auras. Doing so will allow me to use one jewel socket in order to pick up 3 really powerful nodes on my tree. A 10% increased maximum life node, which is good on just about any build, and then 2 more nodes, which will provide me with an increase to the effectiveness of my aura, pushing me over a certain threshold that I otherwise would not be able to achieve, giving me a total of 90% resistance while my flask is active. This is a very important thing for builds to be able to utilize, and can be used in any jewel socket to pick up nodes that you otherwise just simply can't afford to do. Some builds, such as Scions, can even put in timeless jewels, and then Unnatural Instinct, another jewel we will talk about in our next video, in order to pick up a whole lot of power and double dip on the ability of the timeless jewel to provide attributes or to give other stat bonuses and damage bonuses to their build. There are certain builds, again, such as Scions, that can make use of 3 jewel sockets and have heavily overlapping effects, and just pick up only specific nodes that their build needs. In past weeks, there was a very powerful and fun build, fun being subjective, that made use of a timeless jewel that converted 4 different notables within a large range into increased item rarity. These nodes would normally be a real pain in the butt to try and pick up if you were playing a build that wasn't a Scion that could just easily path over to them. However, due to the nature of that timeless jewel and Thread of Hope, a player would be able to put a Thread of Hope in one socket and click on every single one of those notables in the ring going around, without having to path to them, saving them dozens of skill points. Now, as mentioned before, the Thread of Hope is variable. This means you can in fact change your Thread of Hope if you go to re-roll it with a Divine Orb. While I do not recommend this, some Thread of Hopes are worth more than others, particularly if you roll one that has a minimum penalty to elemental resistances and that happens to be a very large radius. The very large radius on a Thread of Hope will allow players to pick up the life node here while also being able to pick up the Spiritual Aid notable. This notable is just generically good on pretty much every single build, because increases and reductions to minion damage are very common on certain types of gear such as Bone Rings, Spirit Shields, and Convoking Wands. Because of that, it would allow you to give your character generic increased damage, making your build much more powerful at the cost of one jewel socket, and even then, because of this jewel socket, and picking up this one node, which normally would take 5 points to get to, you can still pick up a few nodes over in here that would be in radius of a timeless jewel, or just get some extra life. In the case of the very large, you have access to an area of effect and area damage node, the life node, and a couple things over here as well. But most important of all is the Spiritual Aid. That about wraps it up for the Thread of Hope jewel. As mentioned in my previous video, I am hoping to do a video covering all of the most important and often overlooked by newer player unique jewels. The next video will be on a rather expensive jewel known as the Unnatural Instinct. I don't have one on hand, I don't believe. It's on my other character, but I'll make sure to have it for that video. If you do like these videos going over mechanics and interactions, such as the one we covered in this video, please leave a comment and let me know. If there's anything that you would also like to see featured in a future video, maybe an unknown mechanic or something that you just saw on Poe Ninja, you can also leave that in the comments and I will look into it. If it's something that I think would be of benefit, particularly to newer players, I will do my best to feature it in a future video. In the meantime, I have to get back to making some currency for some much needed improvements to my build. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.